Hi, everyone. I'm Shrusta. I'm part of the Hack Illinois staff.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raghav. I'm the Experience Director for HackThis this year.
Thank you so much for joining us for this product design workshop. We have with us here today product designer Vicky, and I'll let her take it from here.
All right, thank you guys for the introductions, and thank you everyone for coming here. I'll start sharing my screen and give you guys a bit of introduction about myself. So yeah, welcome to the super beginner-friendly product UX designer workshop. My name is Vicky, and I will be walking you guys through this workshop. So just a little bit about me. I am a products and UX designer, and I have been doing this for about 5 years now. I am the first place winner at the IEEE development competition in 2017 and first place at one app development competition in Hungary and a few more in the USA, including SAP Designathon and one app design, a design award for mobile applications. And currently I am working at Doordash. And before you leave the workshop today, make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn or say hi, on Discord, and check out my website if you have any questions, in addition to the workshop. So before I get started, I'm going to, walk you through the agenda for today first. So first, we will be talking about the fundamental of UX or product design, as well as why good UX matters for your applications and especially for your hackathon applications. I'll be also talk about, how to think like a UX designer and how to apply UX strategies to your project as well. And lastly, I will be walking you guys through some basic Figma tutorial, and I will try my best to do it within the time, but I aim to walk you guys through how to do some basic wireframing and maybe design one of the screen to see how it works. So I'm trying to keep this very, very basic and very beginner friendly. So if I go too fast or anything, do reach out after on Discord as well. So let's get started. First, I want to, help you guys identify what is product, what is user experience, and why it matters. So I have a very good example here, and I hope like everyone can understand from this. So when we say product, a lot of like non-technical people think of product as like an actual like object, but recently, product has a lot of meanings, especially like in the tech world. We think of product as like a software, as an applications like iOS or Android or a web applications. So it could mean a lot of things. So an example I have here is the iOS app of Uber. So as you know, Uber is a rideshare app, and their product is to help you to, request a ride to get to your destinations. So that is the product. And for the experience of Uber is to help you get to your destination safely. So when you think about the experience, it is about how the products works and how the user, how they experience the product. So just to summarize this a little bit, the product is the app and the experience is how the user interacts with the product. So let's talk a little bit about like UX design. A lot of people confuse between like UX design and UI design. So I just want to help you guys understand a little bit between the differences between that. So the UI design is just basically the interface of the applications, while UX is, is pretty deep. It's a little bit deeper than just the interface. So UX experience encompass all the aspect of the end user's interactions with the company. So basically UX design is the interactions the user has with a product or a service or with the company. And it is a combination of psychology, business, market research, design, human-computer interactions, and technology. So your main goal for your product is to provide meaningful, useful, and delightful experience to your user. So a good user experience is human-centric and your product should focus on the usability of the user and the user's emotions and what they need, and how is it going to help them to get to where they want. So let's talk about like why UX matter. When you leave this workshop today, I want you to remember that user experience matters a lot on every product, and is really about like how users see and care about their user experience, especially like how it looks, how it functions, and how it helps them to get to their goal. So as a developer or an engineer or a designer, your goal is to make your users happy and to help them to achieve their end goals. And if you were able to do that, that means it's super good for the user, and it's super good for the business as well, because you want people to be happy when they use your app, when they use your software, so that they keep returning to use it, and they recommend it to their friend and family, and get you more users. So think about that when you code your next project, or when you design your next project. Is this something that make your user happy? Is this something that functional and help them to get to their end goal? If that's the case, then it's a win-win for both user and for the business. So here's some fun visualizations that to help you understand a little bit more if you are pretty new to the field. So let's say if you have a very good backend and very bad UI UX, your user may not really be into your product so much, and maybe dropped out pretty early, or they might not be even like purchase your product at all. And if you have, a very good UI UX, like it looks super beautiful, but then the backend doesn't work and your code is just like very messy, then it's not going to be, a delightful experience for them as well. So we want to, go for the balance between the good backend and the good UI UX. So when you reach to that point, your products will be very delightful for the users, and everyone is happy, and your products will grow so much from them. So let's talk a little bit about what makes a good UX. Give me 1 second. There's like I'm gonna stream that again. Okay, there we go. So what makes a good UX? I have something over here that is called UX Honeycomb, and this will help you guys with your hackathon project so much. So look at this as like a checklist of your products and your projects. So when you do any projects, either if it is a long-term project, or if this is just a hackathon, think about these elements. Like, ask yourself, is this useful? Is this project valuable? Is this function that you're adding in findable and usable? So these are the elements that you should consider when you do your project, especially during hackathon when you don't have a lot of time. Think about this very quickly, but also make sure that you hit all of these elements within your projects. And don't worry about this. If you cannot write this down or take note quickly, we will send this out later after the workshop as well. So don't worry. So I have an example of how that actually come into place where you do products. So I have an example here, which is for Airbnb. And if you think of Airbnb, it is like a product that help you to find your next vacation home or your short-term rental. So the goal of the user from start to finish is to able to log in and successfully reserve a place for their next vacations. So from the start to the finish, within that experience, you need to make sure that the experience is something that valuable and usable for your user. So it should hit all these 7 elements that I mentioned before. So think about it when you are doing your next project. Like, what is the experience from start to finish of the user? Does it make sense? Is this like something that delightful for the user? and if it's useful or not, because you don't want to add in a feature that, you know, it's useful for you from the developer perspective, but the user doesn't find it very useful or very valuable. That means they're not gonna, you know, come back and use it again. So think about it that way as well. So next we just talk about good UX. Now I'm gonna cover a little bit about the bad UX. So the bad UX, beside the fact that it's not going to be usable, is also cause frustrations and cause confusion to the user as well. And when, you know, the user is feeling very frustrated and very confused about the whole experience, they're most likely not to come back to use your service ever again. And the cost of it is a lot. So if you're working for a company or if you're working for a startup, you're gonna waste a lot of money like developing and testing, and especially you're gonna use a lot of customer, and it's just very hard to recover from that. So yeah, focus on the good UX and try not to, you know, go too fast that the UX is sorry, that the bad UX is going to cost your business or cost your projects like a lot of time and money. So now I'm talking about a little bit about UX research. Just want to point out the importance of UX research, even though I know that you guys probably don't have a lot of time during the hackathon to do so. So one thing that I want to leave with you guys, like before leaving this workshop today, is think about this, you know, the questions I have up there. Like, what is a product without its user? So when you are doing your project, it's very easy to, you know, apply your personal reference or personal experience into your project and think for the user. However, you know, always remember that you are designing, you are developing this product for the user and not for yourself. So always try to understand it from the user perspective. If you can, like, find some friends to ask them for feedback during your hackathon projects, instead of like assuming a lot of things. Because UX research, you know, it really helps you to understand the user expectations and behaviors and needs and motivations. And also like with that data that you collect from the research, or even just like from talking to people, it will help you so much in making the decision that benefit the user and not like just about like yourself. So remember, for your next project, everything has to be user focused and not going to be surrounding what you like or what you don't like. So before I continue, I would like to check if there's any questions coming in. And if yes, I can take one or two questions.
Yeah, we have a couple questions on Slido right now.
Okay.
The first is there anywhere that we can find guidelines as to how to make our project more accessible?
Yes, so I do have a bunch of a website that's gonna help you with accessibility, especially with like functionality, but also like visual design as well, like how to make it work for people who have, like, you know, color blindness and things like that, and how to you know, think for the people who have problem with color contrast. So I can also link that at the end of the workshop.
Okay, yeah, awesome. We'll send that to the Discord as well. Another question is, there's a group that has been thinking about what a logical flow of screens would be, but when using it, it doesn't feel natural. So how do you figure out the natural flow for a user?
So like when you say user flow, like it depends on what state you are in. Like, not sure if you guys kind of like write down the flow or actually made a wireframe for that. But if you have not, I would totally recommend to do a quick wireframe. And because when you actually do the wireframe and click through it, or like maybe think of the mental model for the wireframe, you're gonna kind of pinpoint on where things got weird and then try to fix that area. So not sure what phrase you're in for the project, but I like during my mentor hours later, I think, you know, you can reach out to me and I can take a look and kind of point that out for you.
Okay. Yeah, for those watching, Vicky will be a mentor for product design later, so feel free to reach out to her for any questions you have. We have one last question for now. How would you define UX?
I would say for defining, like, it's hard for me to say because UX is a combination of a lot of things, but I want like developers especially to think about UX is that when people like interact with your products, they are looking at like the interface and the experience of the products. Like they're not looking at your clean like code, or they don't really care about how the back end works at all. So like basically the experience of how they interact with your applications and how it relates to their emotions is very, very important, because we always want to, strive for the happy and neutral like emotions when they're interacting with the applications, instead of, just have it work.
Yeah, for sure.
Like user emotions is very, very important.
Okay, yeah.
So I hope I cover the questions.
Yeah. We do have a couple more questions. If you want to take those now, or we can wait until the end.
I can take one more question.
Okay, so one more question is, when considering the user's needs, what defining qualities have you seen for college-age students as users of a product?
Sorry, can you repeat that? It was like laggy a little bit.
Yeah. When considering the user's needs, what defining qualities have you seen for college-age students as users of a product?
So like, I think to like even like find out what the user need, like, and if you are like a college student right now and doing a product for a college student, like usually try not to apply everything that you think is good to the product itself, but check with your friends, like check with the one who's in your target audience and ask them like what is their pain point, what is their needs, what is their frustration, and what do they want, because often they will tell you like exactly what they're looking for. For example, if they're using Zoom and they really hate it, they're gonna tell you exactly why they hate it, and that is going to help you a lot with your project if you're doing anything like very similar to that. So always ask people instead of just assume it.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess we will save all the other questions for later, but I can continue with the workshop.
Yeah.
If there's no. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. So the next part, I want to talk a little bit about the Hackathon UX cheat sheet. And this one I designed specifically for hackathons. So I do not recommend to use this during your, like for your full scope and long-term project, because this is a very condensed version. And this is not how we, how UX designer or how product designer like do their job like on a daily basis. So again, this is for hackathons only. And I will send this out later too on Discord. So you don't have to, take note or screenshot it. So yeah, so first is identify your user, and second is identify your project's problem and solutions. And then the third one, I will cover, the brainstorm and the wireframe part of it, and also talk a little bit about like UI design and how to do a quick usability test as well. So let's go to the first one. This may be, relating to the questions that I got like earlier, but this might be helpful for you if you don't know how to identify your user or know what they need. So I do recommend to create a user persona, and there's like a tons of way to do it. You can either like interview an actual person, or you can create a fictional character for your persona as well. So when you do your user persona, make sure to ask yourself like, who are they? What do they need? Why do they need your products for? And what is their goal? And what is their frustrations? So when you have that and align with your team, it's going to be very easy for you guys to focus on, that target audience. And same thing with create user empathy map. So I have an example on the right here. And as you can see, user empathy map is going to cover and help you to understand the user, like what do they say, what do they think, and what do they do, and like how do they feel. So when you do this, it's gonna help you and your team to align and focus on the target group of audience. And so then there won't be any conflict about like, oh, I think this is better for the user and that is better for the user, and then there will be a conflict between like teams. So doing like empathy map will help you to align your visions and understand the users a little bit more. So I will have this template for you as well, so you guys can practice among your team and to kind of help identify your users. And so your products will be a little bit more user focused instead of based on your personal experience. And then the next part is to identify your project's problems and solutions. So here you might have a lot of ideas. Like at the moment, I know during Hackathon, everyone tried to achieve that the coolest idea. But sometimes, like if there are like a lot of people in the teams, there might be a lot of ideas going on. So I would recommend using something called the Affinity Mapping. And there are a lot of templates out there that are going to help you sort through this. I will also send out this template later as well. But the purpose of Affinity Map is to help you and your team organize your thoughts and your solutions and your idea. And also like, kind of scope in the vision for your project as well. So you can see and align with your team of like which direction to take and which one is the best for the user and also good for the business. So there will be, I'll link that later to Discord as well. So third, want to just cover a little bit about wireframe and UI design. So I will do a quick Figma like basic tutorial after this. However, just want to cover this quickly on the slide. I recommend using Figma because it is completely free. You can use Adobe XD or Sketch as well if you want, but I know those are not like free. And I mean, you can pay for the student version as well, but for hackathon purpose, just use Figma. It's already free and ready to go anytime. Also, because you don't have a lot of time, I recommend using free template and UI kit that is already out there and modified it as kind of like tailor it to your project instead of doing everything from scratch because you only have like a few days to do so. And also I recommend to do wireframe because you can draft the experience before spending your time on design. I know like before when I mentor at different hackathons, students usually like just jump right into do their design, and then at the end, like when they found out that something doesn't work, it wastes a lot of their time to go correct their high fidelity design. So recommend doing some wireframe first, even if you draw it on paper and scan it in, or you can just do it very quickly on Figma or just draw it like very like messy sketch. That's totally fine because when you do that, then you know how the user flow works and if it makes sense from the user standpoint or not. And then for usability tests, again, since we don't have a lot of time, I would recommend to get feedback from your non-technical friends. Either show them your low fidelity sketches, your low fidelity design, or just like wireframe, or just like bounce off the idea off them. And recommend do this before getting into coding because this will save you a lot of time. So one thing I noticed that a lot of students don't realize is that when you're designing a product, you're not designing for someone who is, super good with technology. You're designing this kind of like targeting everyone. So you have to think of the people who, may not be, technology like savvy like you. So when you're building a product for everyone, my recommend is to check with your non-technical friends if this makes sense. Because if they know, how it works, and if they think that this is very easy to use and it's very useful for them, then you're good to go. But if you're showing someone who is non-technical and they don't know how this works and they don't understand the purpose of this and they find things very confusing, then you have to revisit your your plan and your project. So if they are confusing about something, like ask to clarify more and find that pain point and trying to fix that from there. And do not wait to ask until the project is done. So recommend checking with your friends, not so much like you can check with your mentors too, but like when you're doing some usability testing, make sure to target the audience that you are doing this project for. So next I'm going to move to the Figma tutorial. And there's two parts of it that I'm gonna cover. First is designing using UI kits. And then I'm just gonna walk you guys through like how to use Figma and how to like design from the UI kits and not from scratch. And then also the second part, I'm just gonna help to like design one screen from iOS app. So this is my first time doing live Figma tutorial. So if there is any technical difficulty or if I have like hiccup here and there, like please do forgive me and give me feedback after. That would be awesome. So yeah, let me move over to Figma and get started. So for UI kit, there's a bunch of UI kits up there. You can find a lot of them on something called uistore.design. I will link this to the Discord later as well. There's a bunch of Figma UI kit ready that you can download for free and use for your purpose. However, remember to modify it toward your project and not just grab things that is already like there, because I know like there's like a lot of you guys are watching this workshop right now, and it will be bad to have like 5 different submissions that have the same like UI and color. So we don't want that as well. So make sure to edit it as you tailor to your project. So what I'll do is I will download this kit right here, and I will show you guys what it looks like when I open that on Figma. And also there's a website called Figma Freebies that also have a lot of free UI templates that you can download from. So check that out as well. So I have already pre-download that kit. It's called RefKit, Design System UI Kit. After you download it on Figma, it will automatically open. If you are using Figma browser, then you will see something similar as well. I'm currently using the Figma applications on iOS on my MacBook right now. So the UI is the same, but everything will look the same and act the same. So don't worry about it. So to get started on the UI kit, usually it's gonna be locked. And the first thing you should do is to copy these artboard over to your own file. And to do that, you can click on the plus mark right here to open a new tab. So I'm gonna do that right here. And you can paste it over. So as you paste this UI kit over, currently it's gonna be locked. So you can unlock it by looking over on the layers panel on the left and unlock them. So after you unlock them, then you'll be able to, click on each individual one and drag it into your own screen. So let's say I am doing a web screen, and to get started on making a new artboard, I can either go to something called Frame up here or click F on the keyboard. And as you click to open a new artboard, they will give you a bunch of options on the right side. So if you're doing like iPhone or Android or Google Pixel, or if you're doing desktop, you can select it and it will automatically open the right side for you. So I'm gonna try MacBook Pro, and I can move the artboard around to like whatever is comfortable for you when you're designing. And so let's say I need a button for my applications. I can just double click on here and actually just copy and paste it over to my artboard over there. So I'm gonna try to get this one over there. You could just copy and paste it. There we go. And to change the text in here, you can just double click on the buttons itself and change it to anything you want to need. And to change color, also you can look on the design tab on the right. So let's say I want to change this text to black. I can select the text and then go to this area called fill right here. And this is where you can, play around with the colors or pick from what is already there in the template. So I'm gonna try to use black right here. And same thing with the borders right here. If you want this button to be filled, or if you just want to have a stroke, you can always change the stroke colors on the right panels. And if you want to remove the stroke and add the fill, you can click on the add buttons right here, and it will automatically allow you to change the color of the buttons. And so here's something that people might run into is that where is my text? So if you want to kind of reorganize the layers, look over to your left side. I would recommend looking at these layers and kind of be notice of how things are layering up. Imagine you are working with a blank piece of paper, and you can put things on top. So exactly how this is working over here. Sorry. So yeah, let's move on to the next step. So if you have something like a cart looking type of UI that you need for your project, you can also use the pre-made cart as well and change it up. So I can just copy that very easily and put it over to my artboard right here. And I can also add shadows and do anything to it. And yeah, so it's very, very straightforward. Using UIKit will save you a lot of time and effort. But yeah, you can change a lot of things, including pictures right here. Just double click on this and change the text right here, change the size. You can do anything with this. So this is already pre-designed, really fast and for you to use. So next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about Figma plugins and also the Figma tools and just basic foundation of Figma. So over on the menu bar, you have a lot of options like arranging and add text and kind of modify the vectors. But there's one thing that is super, super helpful is something called the Figma plugins. And this is something that helps designers design super quickly. And so this is super perfect for hackathon purpose. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So I'm gonna go to manage plugins. And within managed plugins, they're gonna show you some of the one that you can install. And I'm gonna walk you guys through which one I recommend to install. So first, I recommend install Unsplash. Basically, they will allow you to import photos pretty quickly to your projects. So if you're doing anything that needs picture, like user profile or something that looks like a social media, using Unsplash will save you a lot of time importing photos. Another one I would recommend to download and install is the material design icon. So this one is just an icon set that is super easy to use. You can just open it and drag it in, and you don't have to look for icons on Google and then download it and do all kind of things to it. So everything will be in there as well. Another things to download is the feather icon. So Feather made really good icon. So they also have plugins that's ready for you to use. I will walk you guys through how to actually drag an icon in a bit. Also recommend download something called Wireframe. This will help you to do Wireframe really, really quickly. So you don't have to design your Wireframe. They already made it for you. Just really drag and drop it as well. Another one to check out is something called Human for Figma. This is a library of illustrations that will help you to get beautiful illustrators illustrations really, really quickly, and you don't have to download from Google or any other sites. So that will be very helpful if you want to add some illustrations in your projects to make it a little bit more interesting. So same thing with Blush. This is pretty new. I think it's just launched like a few months ago, but people really like it a lot because they have like a lot of different illustrations for free, very high quality to choose from. So you can install that as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of plugins that you can explore. They even have like Zeppelin and all kind of things that help you with developing. So recommend if you have some like few minutes, do explore each of these. But let me walk you guys through how to actually like use it. So let's say I'm gonna create an artboard for iPhone 11. So here, let's say I want to, add an illustrations in. I'm going to click on human for Figma, and this is where there's a free library of illustrations that I can use. And it's really crazy how it's super customized. So let's see, I want to, let's say I want to use this person. I can easily drag it in and also change the color of each of the elements right here. So let's say I don't want this person to be wearing red. I can change it to like other color if I want to. So this is very helpful if you are doing like a web applications. You're gonna have like a landing page, and so using illustrations will help a lot to make your your applications or your page very interesting. So yeah, that's how you kind of use illustrations and drag it in your file. So let's say if you want to add in some icon, I'm gonna use the let's see, feather icon right here. So as you click on feather icon, it's gonna give you a library of icon that is like already like ready to go, like the perfect size for your iPhone 11 Pro. So let's say I'm gonna click on a random icon here. And from then you can just drag it into your artboard pretty easily. And for the purpose of like moving it easy, I would just like group the layers so that you can move things pretty fast. And also you can also change the color, also change the size and the stroke of the icon as well. So if you are doing a pretty large web page, the icon may look a little bit thinner. Here's what I mean. So you can always change the stroke over here. Let's say moving it to 5 or 6 is gonna be a little bit larger if you're doing like a larger website. Cool, and then there's like a bunch of cool plugins out there. There's one called the color palette that will help you if you guys have trouble with colors. They have a bunch of different color palette that you can choose from if you are if you don't feel like color is something that you have a strong preference for. So I would recommend using this, and you can add this into your workspace very easily by click on the plus buttons. So when you do that, it will generate like a palette for you here, and then you can it will automatically add that to your color palette on Figma as well. So this is super easy to do when you design. And there's like a lot more color resources outside of Figma, and I can link that to you as well. So, but this is something that is within Figma. If you don't want to leave the software at all, just click on it, and it will generate it for you. Another one that I want to show is the let's say the chart. So if you're doing something that has visualized like data visualizations that need to be shown, I would recommend this something called chart plugin, and you can select between the bar and the pie and graphs, and plug in your data point, and after that you can click on add chart, and it will automatically generate a chart for you. And then you can also change color very, very quickly. You can move things around. Yeah, this is great for if you're doing some kind of like data dashboard or something like that. Let's do another one and then we can move on. There's one that I found very helpful is the wireframe one. So if you don't have a lot of time and you want to see how the user flow like would work, I would recommend using this plugin, because within this you can select whatever flow you want to try the plugin for. I mean, sorry, the wireframe for, and it will automatically like generate for you as well. So I'm gonna try mobile and then maybe click on menus. Let's drag one of them out. So here we go. Oops. Sorry, it's like getting messy now. I should just delete everything. Yeah, so you just like tap on it and it will generate one screen for you. So let's say this is the menu screen, and then you want to see like what it looks like when it gets to the user profile. They also have a list of that for you to choose as well. So I'm gonna click on this. So yeah, now you have like 2 screens for your app. And then let's try another one, like maybe like a contact form or something. You can click on it and then it will give you that as well. I don't know why it's replacing this, but it's okay. You guys get the idea. But yeah, if you have this wireframe, just simply like add like the description of this in like within like underneath the screen, so that you and your team can align of what the screen is and like what is the proper next step for the user to take. So kind of think of this as like your like whiteboard, and just use this to like do a lot of brainstorming stuff too. Like just do this menu, and then next step is to go to profile, things like that. So this is like the fastest way to do wireframe, so you don't have to create like each box for wireframe and then like, oh, this is the button, this is the photo. I know that this is a traditional way to do so, but this tool has been very, very helpful for like to do UX. So I would recommend check this out as well. Okay, so I think we are running a little bit late, so I'm gonna move to the next section where I'm going to redesign this from scratch. And so again, I don't think it's ideal to do things from scratch during your hackathon because you don't have a lot of time. But I just want to show you guys like how you can do this like very easily, and like don't stress out about it as well. And this will help. This exercise will help you to understand like all these tools and also like what these does as well. So let's get started. Hold on, let me get a quick sip of water. Okay, so let's get started. This is a Zoom screen on iOS app, and I'm going to attempt to redesign this. And the purpose is to show you guys how these tools work and how to incorporate like the Figma plugins into this exercise. So I'm gonna try to match this, but it may not look like pretty close. So yeah, and we don't have a lot of time either, so I'm gonna try my best to do this quickly and accurately. So to start, I'm going to go to this frame and select on, let's say I'm gonna do iPhone 11 Pro. So now I just open a new artboard. So the first thing I noticed is that they have a color background in the back. So I would attempt to do that as well. So let's kind of click on the rectangular tool on, sorry, the square icon up here on the shape tool and drag it out. So when you drag it out and you want to use this same color, the fastest way to do is go to the fill and click on the eyedropper tool. So I'm gonna try to match it with this color. Ta-da, we have something. Yeah, so the next step I will try to add in the text, which is meet and chat. So to do that, you can click on the T icon up here, or you can just click T on your keyboard for a shortcut. So what I'm gonna do is to drag it out and type in meet and chat. So again, like I'm doing it like in a very basic way. So if you guys are like already know this and know a lot of shortcut and cool things, please be considerate of the people who's here. Like they might not, use Figma before. So I'm gonna try to go very slow. So for this, I want it to have to be a little bit more like bold. I can look over here on the text section and choose maybe bold or medium. Maybe I'll do medium. Medium. Yeah, I think medium is a little bit better. So when you get to here, I'm gonna change the size to a little bit bigger to say maybe 20, so that it's kind of match with what we're seeing over here. So now you're looking at the meet and chat, and it's not really like in the center at all. And it's, I don't try to eyeball it because like it's not really accurate. So what you can do is you can click on the meet and chat, and up here, there's a tool that's gonna help you align with the artboard. So this thing is called like Align Horizontal Center. So click on this and it will automatically align things for you. Let's move this down just a little bit. Yeah, so now we have the text in. What I'm gonna do next is to add the two icons in the screen. And again, I already have a plugins that help me with this, so I don't have to go and find it, on Google, which is wastes a lot more time. So I'm gonna open Feather icon and look for the star icon. So there we go. I also am gonna look for the edit icon as well. So they have all the icons that you need. There we go. Move this over here. So for some of the icon, when it has two elements, I would recommend group it in so that you can, move this a little bit easier. So after you group that, you can move it up here. And for the star as well, just move it up here. So I'm gonna change this to a white so that we can match with the design, the original design itself. So one thing that you notice here is that this icon is not really aligned. Like one is like higher than the other. So an easy ways to fix this is to select both icon. Here, as you can see, the star is like way higher than the edit icon right here. So again, you can use this tool, align tool right here, and click on align bottom. And when you do that, now everything is going to be on the same line. Another tool within Figma that could be very helpful is the layout grid. So I'm going to turn that on just to help me to align things a little bit nicer and more consistency to my design. So I'm going to click on add. And you can use the square grid, but my personal reference is to use it in the column style. I found that very helpful for me, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to click on columns, and I'm going to give the grid of maybe 8 columns and the width of, I would say about like 80. I think once you do this enough, you will be able to know what kind of grid you want to work with. So this is the grid of my choice. And now I can align this to the grid that I want. So I'm going to move this over here a little bit. And same thing with this edit icon over here. So the reason why we do this is to make sure that the padding of your applications is consistent. The next time you're looking at some existing app, you're going to notice that they have some grid that they follow as well. So that's some cool things to check out. So yeah, things looks pretty aligned right now. So I'm gonna just turn this off for a little bit. And the next step I'm gonna move to is to do the search bar right here. So again, like for this stuff, everything you can find on UI kits. So you don't need to do it from scratch like me right now. So I'm gonna do a rectangular bar right here, and then try to match the color of what I see over here as well using the eyedropper tool. And then to add like a radius to this box, you guys can do it over here. You can either drag it until like whenever you feel like that is good, you know, drag left and right. I'm holding my my mouse pad right here. But also like if you already know like the radius that you want, like maybe like 10, just type it in so that it's like faster as well. So I'm gonna turn on the grid again just so that I align things. So like every single spacing really matters, especially if you are a designer. You know, you see like different spacing and every pixel that's different. So just make things consistent and professional looking. Make sure you align things to your grid. Cool, let's turn this off again. So next up, I'm gonna add in the word search. And what I do is click on T and I'm just typing search. So again, like the word search that they have is way smaller than their header meet and chat. So I'm gonna bring this down a little bit as well, and then change this to maybe regular instead of medium. So when I do that, again, if you're looking right now, like you don't know if the search is like in the center of the box or not, and like a lot of people try to like align it and eyeball it, but I recommend to align it very nicely by clicking on search and click on the search bar right here. Like select both objects at the same time and then click on align vertically. So now everything is aligned and it looks very nice. So next I'm going to add in the icon for search bar. So search. And again, since this icon has two different layers, I'm gonna group them and then move them up here. So I'm gonna make this into a little bit like lighter gray because that's what they have there as well. So I'm just clicking on the stroke and kind of bring the colors up a little bit. And don't worry, you don't need to remember the hex color because the moment you set, you know, one object to that color, it will be automatically save that color for you down here in the document colors as well. So you can just click on that. So now everything will have the same colors. So like due to the time constraint, I might not do this part, but we'll see how it goes. But I want to show you guys how to, you know, find an illustration and add it in here, and also like do the click buttons right here as well. And if we have time, we can do this area as well, because if you think about this, it's just like square box with icon on it and I already walked you guys through on how to add an icon on top of it. So I think this part may be a little bit more interesting. So let's try that. Delete this layer here. So I'm gonna use this plugin called Blush to find some illustrations that, you know, look something close to this. And here, look at this very beautiful illustrations. You can, you know, use any of this for free. And, you know, you can like browse around and click on any of this that you think works for your project. You can also like search for the one that you're looking for as well. So this looks like either a chat or conversation. So I'm gonna see like chat and see what is something that I like. So I think this is pretty cool. So I'm gonna get this one. Here we go. Close this. So now that I have an illustrations in here, it makes things a little bit more interesting. So for the colors, because for Blush, it gives you like an actual image and not a vector file. So you cannot really change the color much compared to the human for Figma. So for this one, what I'll do to make it look a little bit nicer and match with the theme is to actually remove the color. So I'm gonna remove the saturations a little bit. So now it is a little bit like grayscale, so that it matched with the style that we're doing. So yeah, next I'm gonna add the text in the middle as well. So like find people. My computer is like super slow right now because I have Zoom and Keynote open, so bear with me. So again, I'm gonna make this medium just so it looks a little bit darker, bolder, and then drag it down here. So just check if things are in line, I'm gonna turn on the grid a little bit as well, and then just to see, you know, how my things look. Yeah, a little bit. And then I'm gonna center this. Here we go. That looks good. And then I'm gonna turn that off again. So let's try to add one buttons in here. Again, I'm gonna just use the rectangular box right here and drag it open. So when you do buttons, make sure to follow like a thumb size rule. Remember that people, when they're browsing on the phone, they have to be able to tap on it. So don't make it too small. Like if you're doing like this kind of buttons, it's just very hard for the user to see, and just it's very hard for the user to tap it in as well. So make sure that it is in a good size for your thumb. And like make sure it's not too big either, so it doesn't look like a banner. So I'm gonna stick with this size, and I'm going to do a 10 radius corner for this. And also gonna remove the buttons, or maybe, you know, I'm gonna try to do a different color buttons. So I'm gonna try this color. But if you want to, you know, be a little bit like playful, you can, you know, try different gradient for that too. So if you look over here on top, currently it says solid, but you can click on linear and you'll be able to do, you know, gradient as well. But with gradient, you have to be very careful, because if the color combination is not good, then it's gonna look very, very old fashioned, and it's not gonna be accessible at all. So might not recommend that. But this is like an options that you can explore as well if you really want to go with it. Gradient usually looks good for background and stuff, but for button may not really work. So with that, I'm just gonna use the same text right here and just kind of move it up to a different layer. So as you can see, my find people and start chatting layer is underneath the rectangular layer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag it up. And so now it's gonna be on top. I'm gonna change this to white for accessibility. If you cannot see it, then that's not good for your user. So think about accessibility when you're doing that as well. So again, I'm gonna align this by select on the text and select on the rectangular, and then click on center so that it will do that automatically for me. Sounds good. And yeah, I'm just like, you know, the purpose is just to show you guys like how to design a very, very basic screen. So, so that it's gonna help you with your project. But yeah, I hope the plugin was helpful. And I know we're like right on time and I actually have to leave for a little bit. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. So if you guys have extra questions, do let me know. Let's see. So I'm gonna hand this back to the organizers, and I will also send out all the resources for you guys. And like, I hope this is helpful for your hackathon. I know this was a lot to take in, and I'm trying my best to, you know, keep it very, very like beginners friendly. So if it was too fast for you, do reach out again, and I can help you with that. And yeah, don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn, and, you know, message me, say hi to me on Discord. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, thank you for that. Obviously, I think the demo everyone found, you know, really nice to follow along with, and I'm sure even when they kind of see, the recorded version, the uploaded version on YouTube, which was actually one of the questions. We do upload all of these to YouTube, by the way. So I guess when you kind of watch it back, you'll be able to walk yourself through the process at your own pace, which I think a lot of our attendees will definitely appreciate. So I guess just getting into a few questions now. Someone asked, how is Balsamiq as software, if you've worked with that?
So like I know of Balsamiq, but usually like for industry standard, we don't really use Balsamiq a lot. If you're talking to any like designers, we're mostly using either Figma, XD, or Sketch. So if you're talking to designers working at like the FANG company or like a bigger company, Figma is usually like the top choice due to like its large library of plugins and also how it's really support the design system as well.
Awesome. I guess next question would be, what do you think is the most important thing to keep in mind when considering user needs within problems related to something like virtual education?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, sure. The question was, what do you think is the most important thing to keep in mind when considering user needs within problems related to virtual education?
I think, again, like virtual education is a very new thing. Like this is like the first time that every school, like high school and college, even like elementary school, they just suddenly like go virtual and online. So again, like for user needs, it's just the best to talk to user, because even for me, like I cannot even give you the best recommendations of what solution you should take, because maybe it's not like targeting toward me. So it's hard to say like what is the correct like solution or like the path to go with. So things to keep in mind is to always check with the user. So check with your friend, check with your, like family if they're in school, and talk to them about like what is their like virtual experience is currently like, and what do they like don't like about it. And that will help you to see like what they need when you have like repeating like the same result. Like for me, like Zoom, it's good, but also like it has like some functions that I feel like it could be improved. So like if you like chat with me, I can tell you a little bit more about like why I can improve that, and then you can use that idea for your project as well.
Awesome. And then I guess kind of as a final wrap up kind of question, who do you think is currently leading in the industry in terms of good UX design?
Okay. Oh, that's a good question, actually. I think in terms of like user experience, like for me, I think Spotify is doing very, very well. And also, I think Airbnb is doing a good job as well. When you use it, everything is very easy to understand, and you know exactly what you're getting from it. And also, like you want to continue like keep using it. So especially like for Spotify, for me, like is something that I use every day, and it's just like very intuitive, where I don't have to think so much when I'm in the app. So like oh yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to kind of leave a message to people who's doing this project too, is that the moment that your user get into your app and they have to think a lot about like what step do they take next, that is not a good UX. So try to make your project very clear, like crystal clear, that your user don't have to think about what is going on right now. So like I think successful apps usually they have that like element to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, Vicky, thank you so much for obviously kind of going through this, not only the presentational aspect, but also the demo. To all of our attendees watching, Vicky will be on the Discord server as a mentor, who you can obviously like reach out to, join her queue, and work with essentially to kind of, walk through these problems related to user experience. Especially in the beginning, but even throughout your, throughout the duration of your product development cycle, as you might come up with new screens or some new elements to add to your project, it'd be always nice to consider them from a very heavy user experience centric point of view. So I think Vicky would definitely be helpful as a mentor for that. With that being said, I think we're about done. So yeah, thank you guys for turning out, and hope you all have a great rest of the Saturday, and look forward to the other events we have for you.
Yeah. Just want to add on. Yeah, huge thanks to Vicky for hosting this workshop. It was amazing. If you stayed until the end, we will send a link in the YouTube live chat for you to fill out the form and enter into a raffle for attending. And we will also send the password with it. So yeah, just watch out for that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you guys, and good luck with your projects as well.